Yo, what is going on, YouTube? Tactics here, and you guys asked for it, and it is my finalized build for January artifact deck profile. Okay, so it's not like the final build that's like, this is the best way you can make it. I know there's lots of other ways. Like, it works great with agent decks and things like that, but right now I just want to work on strictly artifact, the archetype. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to explain all these cards and my card choices, and I'll explain a little bit of some of the combos that I know of as at the moment and their effects. So let's begin here. If you guys know anything about artifacts, they are best used when they are destroyed on your opponent's turn. And these cards are always set in your spell or trap card zone, not the monster field. And once they're destroyed on your opponent's turn, then their special ability, your second special ability, should I say, activates. Let's get started. As far as the artifact names go, I'm not too familiar with the names, so please excuse my pronunciation. But anyways, so first we have Artifact Labrius or Labris. I'm sorry if I didn't say that right. But this card is actually a little different. You can set it in your spell and trap card zone, and I believe it gets special summon. But this card works best when it's in your hand. This card is awesome because let's say you have another artifact monster that gets destroyed on your opponent's turn, then you can special summon this card, and then that artifact monster that just got destroyed from your opponent will get special summoned from the graveyard to the field. So it's a good thing. Next, my favorite artifact. I'm sorry if I don't pronounce this correctly, but it's Artifact Moraltach or something like that. And this card works similar to the other one. It's like if it gets destroyed on your opponent's turn, you can special summon it from the graveyard, and then you can use its special ability to pop one face-up monster card in the field. So let's say that you got like this card out there and face down, and then you have nothing on the field, and you have an Honest in your hand. This happened to me just last game, and then they mystical space this card, or I mystical space this card. Then it goes to the graveyard, and special summons from my graveyard. Its secondary effect activates, and you can destroy that blue eyes or whatever else is in the field. Then you can use the Honest if you need it. Next is Artifact Fallnut. This card is my second favorite card because this card has a unique ability. Once this card gets destroyed on your opponent's side of the field, it gets special summon, and it also has a second ability where it lets you set one artifact monster from your graveyard to your spell and trap card zone. Another artifact here is Artifact Caduceus. This card is pretty good. The only downside to this card really is that you can only use one at a time. But when this card gets destroyed, it's set obviously. When it's set and gets destroyed on your opponent's field and special summons from the graveyard, its secondary effect activates and you get to draw one. The next artifact is Artifact Beagletach, something like that. I'm sorry, I still can't pronounce it. And this card is a good card to use. You only need two. This card could be cloggy, and it could be good, and it could be bad. So this card, if it's sat on the field, it gets destroyed, and you have two other artifacts face down, or two cards face down. This card special summons, then its second ability activates, and you can destroy two cards in your spell and trap card zone. And then if they're artifacts, their special abilities activate, and they get special summoned. So it's really good with combos and things like that. Next is Artifact Aegis. This card is great defense, 2500 defense. You can't really beat that. Well, it's really hard to beat. And this effect is really neat because if I have other artifact monsters besides itself or itself, when it gets special summoned on your opponent, when it's your opponent's turn, for that turn, all your artifact monsters in the field are immune to card effects. Next, I have, this is level 4, it's called Star Drawing, but you can XE summon it with a 5 because its special ability says, if this card is used for an XYZ summon, you can treat this card as a level 5 monster. Any monster that can be summoned using this card as an XYZ material gains the effect. When it is XYZ summoned, draw one card. So this just lets you draw a card, which is really helpful. So 2 is probably the best to go. Next, I have Morphling Jar. You don't have to have this card. This card's a little optional, but it always seems like I barely have any cards in my hand because they're usually set or on the field. So this card is really great. It's usually a game changer when I set this card and flip it and I get to draw a whole new hand and start all over. And then finally we have Honest because it's a light deck, so why not have Honest? We have Dark Hole, self-explanatory. Then we have this new card. It's called Artifact Movement. This card works great with artifacts. It's like another Mystical Space Typhoon, and I believe you can use this in any deck. I mean, you can use this instead of a Mystical Space Typhoon. But other than that, let's say you can use this card, flip it, and then you can destroy a magic or trap card on either side of the field. And when you do, its second ability activates and it lets you skip your opponent's battle phase, which is so good. And it lets you set one artifact monster from your deck to your spell and trap card zone. It's such a good card. This card is just so amazing. Next we have Double Cyclone. People who play artifacts kind of prefer Double Cyclone over Mystical Space Typhoon, but I prefer to have both because I like to have more destruction power in my deck, not only for my monsters, but just in case they have like a deck that loves their trap cards, like Bottomless or something like that. You know, or Royal Decree. That's a BITCH to beat. But this card is really good to have because it lets you destroy up to 2 cards in the field, but one has to be yours. So when this card is set and you have an artifact monster and they have, you know, a Mirror Force face down, you can activate this card anytime. You destroy your artifact monster and you destroy that Mirror Force, and then you can special summon your artifact monster. So it gives you a +1. It's great. Next is Mystical Space Typhoon. I prefer Mystical Space Typhoon over Double Cyclone only because it works a little faster. This can only work, Double Cyclone can only work if they have a set card. But Mystical Space Typhoon can work anytime you want. So if they have no spell and trap cards on the field because you're playing against a Lightsworn deck or something like that, you can activate this card so that you can, you know, destroy one of your artifact monsters to special summon it and yada yada yada. And next card is Upstart Goblin. I want to add 2. But right now at the moment I only have 1. I don't have any room for a second one, but hopefully in the future I can make some room. And then for my traps I have Malevolent Catastrophe. And this card is great because this can be a game changer as well, especially for this deck. It's like a Heavy Storm, but not as good as Heavy Storm because it's not a spell card. But it's Malevolent Catastrophe, and when they attack you, you can flip it, and then you can destroy all the cards and destroy all spell and trap cards on the field. And these, of course, since they're set in your spell and trap card zone, they're counted as spell and trap cards, and they can special summon from your graveyard if they get destroyed. So this card can be really overpowered at times, but sometimes it's not good to have one. Sometimes it can be a little cloggy in your hand, but most of the time, Malevolent Catastrophe is good to have at 3, especially with this type of deck. Next is one of my favorite trap cards, is Thurosophy of the Artifacts. And this card is really cool because it has like 2 effects. The normal effect that you'll usually use is, like on your opponent's turn, you can flip this card and you can special summon an artifact monster from your deck and put it to the field. So let's say they got a big bad Blue Eyes White Dragon out. And the reason I use Blue Eyes White Dragon is because it's such a common card. Everybody knows what Blue Eyes White Dragon is. Even the people that don't play Yu-Gi-Oh! Know what Blue Eyes White Dragon is. So let's say they got that big bad Blue Eyes White Dragon and they think like they've already gone over your Mirror Forces, so they think they're cool because you got one set card and they think it's, you know, something else. You can and they attack you. You can flip the artifact trap card, and then it lets you special summon. You probably want to special summon this card, and then once you special summon this card, its effect activates. You can destroy that Blue Eyes White Dragon. It's a beast card. The second ability, which is really cool, is let's say you have this card set right now. Then they Mystical Space Typhoon it. You can flip the card in Chain Reaction. Usually that's what you're going to do. And then what it lets you do is it still lets you special summon another artifact monster from your deck, so you can pop that monster they have. And then on top of it, if your opponent destroys this card with a Mystical Space Typhoon, when this card is sent to the graveyard, it lets you pop another card. So this card is really good to have in the deck. You want it at 3. Next we got Solemn Warning. 2 Mirror Force. Some of you guys might want Fiendish Chain, but I think Mirror Force is better personally because it may not be as fast as Fiendish Chain or a Dimensional Prison, but it destroys a large quantity of monsters because sometimes you will have all set cards, and they'll just attack your ass, and you can you can use Mirror Force and destroy all their cards, and like, what the hell. Then you got your bottom list, and then Call of the Haunted. I want to put 2 in here, but I can't. 1 is actually not that bad, because this card is great because of the effects of the artifacts, because this card is a trap card, so you can set this card and get turn 1. Or turn 2 because you have an artifact monster in the graveyard. And then on your opponent's turn, you can flip this card. You can special summon that artifact monster. Then you can use that artifact special ability and and do a whole bunch of combos. Next, we have our extra deck. We have Gaia Dragon, the Thunder Charger. This card is really good with number 61 Volcasaurus or Tyrus, Keeper of Genesis. And next we have Wind Up Arsenal. I'm not going to pronounce that because I can't. And this card can help. I haven't used it, but I know it's good for it. You can once per turn you can detach an XYZ material from this card to target 2 cards on the field and destroy them. So you can use this either way. You can destroy one of your artifact monsters and one of your opponent's set cards when you have this card, and it's 2600 beater, so it's a beast card. Next, one of my favorite XYZ cards, or Xyz monsters, whatever you want to call them. Tyrus, Keeper of Genesis. This card is virtually indestructible when it has XYZ material under it. And on top of it, it can pop a card at the end of your battle phase twice a game at least. So this card is definitely a card to go. Next is number 61, Volcasaurus. This card I absolutely love. I can beat people all the time. Let me give you an example. This is an actual duel that occurred that I won. So I was going against a Blue Eyes deck again, and they special summoned their Blue Eyes, and I had 3 artifacts in attack mode. They destroyed 1 artifact monster. It was my turn. I overlaid my 2 artifact monsters that were ranked level 5 and went into a rank 5 number 61 Volcasaurus. And then I used Volcasaurus' effect, and if you don't know it, if you detach XYZ material from this card, Xyz material, then you can destroy your opponent's monster and inflict that damage. So I would use this card, and then I would destroy the Blue Eyes White Dragon and then inflict 3,000 damage to them. And then its second ability is then you can't attack with it. So then you go into a Gaia Dragon, the Thunder Charger, and then you can attack. Next is Artifact. I'm sorry I can't say it. Durandal. I hope they come up with some more Xyz ones. But this card is basically like, let's say you have like a crappy hand, and this card's in the field. You can use its effect, and you can shuffle all those cards in your deck, and then summon the same amount of cards that were previously in your hand. Also, the second effect I haven't used yet, but when a monster effect activates in the field, or when a normal spell or trap card is activated, you can attach 1 XYZ material from this card, and then that card's effect becomes something. Destroy 1 spell or trap card on the field. So like they bring out their, I don't even know, like a Dark Arm Dragon. You can use its ability and destroy one of their trap cards if they have one. It's pretty good. And then of course you got Shark Fortress, just because like this card is a target, because let's say you have a whole bunch of these rank 5s or level 5s out here. You want them to attack this card before they attack your other ones. And so this is basically a staple. And then finally, my side deck. This isn't my side deck. Honestly, this is just cards I was experimenting with. I believe at first I had 60 cards in my deck, and then I work my way down from there. That's how I test things now. And then I just take all the obsolete cards and so on. So these are just cards that I can put in or not. I want to put an Upstart Goblin, and I want to replace an artifact Caduceus, possibly, only because Caduceus you can only use 1 per turn basically, or you can only use 1 on the field, and not all its effect doesn't always activate because of specific ruling. So an Upstart Goblin might be the choice, but I hate giving people 1,000 life points, so I don't know. And I took out a third Labrys or something like that because it was kind of cloggy, but you guys can put another one in there. I also maybe one day want to try to put a Call of the Haunted in there, but if I can't, I can't. That is gonna be my January artifact deck profile. I'll try to come up with one in February. It depends on how much I test this deck, which would be a lot because I really like this archetype. And I'm testing Fire Fists. I was doing Fire Kings. I don't really like them. Light Swarms, Evil Swarms, and artifacts. So there's going to be a couple of deck profiles, and I'm sorry these aren't the real cards right now, just because they haven't came out yet. And same thing with the future. Like, I want to make a Lightsworn deck profile again, but I can't because the cards haven't came out yet. Same thing with, well, Evil Swarm, they have came out technically. If you're going to watch this right now, then technically, yeah, all the Evil Swarm cards are out, but I don't have them. I'm working on that deck still, and I'm trying to make that better. It's a pretty good deck, but not that great. I think this deck can beat it if there's not an Ophion out there, but you can usually destroy the Ophion somehow. But anyways, that is my deck profile for the artifacts as far as February goes. And just stay tuned for more deck profiles and Legacy of the Valiant booster box opening. We want that Evil Swarm card that's coming out and that number 101 card out there. And whatever else is in there. I want them all. And then you also are going to be some Magic Ruler. There's going to be an upcoming prize, or like a prize thing, and a couple other little things open, including the third structure deck ever made. It's a fire structure deck that came out back in like 2005. So just stay tuned for all that stuff, and thank you for all the subscribers. I'm starting to get get some attention from you guys, and I really appreciate that, and I want to make you guys happy, and thank you very much, and I will see ya next time. Peace the heck out.